next 3 days, Lionel is going to talk about control of dispersive equations.
Oh, okay. So first I would like to thank the organizer of this course, so Felipe, Gustavo. And so it's a pleasure to talk about this kind of problems. So I will not give any detail, just say what we can do, what we would like to do, and propose some open questions related to control problems. And I will just introduce at the beginning the basic notion of controllability, because probably it's not known to everybody. So this is the plan of the talk. So to begin with, I will introduce some background in control of PDEs. Just to introduce the controllability, the stabilization. Next, I will consider the control of KdV in a periodic domain. After, I will consider the control of KdV in a bounded domain. It's quite different. So I will review the controllability result, and also the stabilization result. So both controllability and stabilization. So I will continue with the wavemaker problems. So it's still KdV actually. So it's still KdV, but with a control from the left. So I will first consider a bounded domain, and next some unbounded domain. Okay, so that's for KdV. Next, I will talk a little bit about the control of BBM. I will continue with the control of BO. Next, the control of Boussinesq system. And finally, depending on the time I have, I will give some idea of the problem and the result for the control of Schrödinger equation. Okay. So the main part of the course actually is devoted to the control of KdV. So KdV is for Korteweg de Vries equation. Because there are a lot of things to do for this equation, actually. It's very rich. BBM is the Benjamin-Bona-Mahoney equation. So now we have quite a good result, but actually we obtained this quite recently. The same for Benjamin-Ono. Boussinesq also is something that has been investigated quite recently. And finally, for Schrödinger, we have a lot of good results, but the situation is not completely understood, actually. Okay, so let us start with some introduction to the control of PDEs. Okay, so control of PDEs. Okay, so just to fix the idea, so we have for instance some bounded open set omega, and we have a small open set inside small omega, and okay, so we have this kind of situation. I will introduce also the boundary of omega. Okay, so I assume that small omega and capital omega are bounded open set, smooth and house. So omega and big omega are smooth and bounded. Okay, so what is the one control problem that we can ask is, okay, we have some PDEs that I will write like this, so control problem. So I first consider what we call the internal control problem. Okay, so we have some PDEs, so that some equation, for instance, which is linear to begin with. Okay, so this is some PDE equation, and so in this thing, P could be, for instance, any linear differential operator. So P is some polynomial in the Fourier variable, and D is just this thing. Okay, so let us assume that we have some PDE like this. Okay, so we put some internal force, which is supported in omega. That's the point, okay? So we put something which is supported in this subdomain. And now, okay, we want to do something. So of course, on the boundary, you will probably have this kind of condition. So for the boundary, we don't put any control. So that's the boundary condition. Okay. So this is still some operator on the boundary. And okay, and of course you have to consider some initial condition as well. Okay. Okay. So in this formulation, F is internal control. And what is important is that the support of this thing is in omega. And in this problem, of course, Z is unknown. Okay, so this is just for the formulation when you have some control which is internal. And so the idea, the problem, the main issue that we ask is the following. So issue, so the controllability problem. I will be more precise later on. So typically, the issue is the following. Given some initial data and given any terminal data in some space, is it possible to find some function f such that the solution of this system reach the terminal data that you consider? Okay? So given z0 and z1 in some space, to be defined, does it exist some function f, the so-called control input, in some space? Of course, the space depends on the problem that you have at hand, so it's just a general formulation that I give. And typically, we work with Hilbert space. It's sufficient. So such that the solution of your system, so your system S1, fulfills the properties that at time capital T, you arrive exactly at Z1. Okay? Okay, so I repeat, given Z0 and Z1, is it possible to find a control which is supported in small omega, such that the solution of this system, starting so at Z0, reach Z1 at time capital T? And of course, we want to do that with a small control region, because if we control everywhere, it's completely trivial, actually. You could just make a copy of this equation on the right, if omega is big omega. But of course, we want to do that with a small control region, and it is challenging. And of course, well, for the moment, we don't know, but capital T in general has to be chosen large in house, so there are some constraints. And of course, all the control properties depend on the equations that you investigate, and I will give some result later on. So this was for the internal control. So internal control is something that you put on the right on your equation, but you can as well consider some boundary control. So what you have to do is just to replace this thing by 0 and to split the boundary condition into two parts, one which is homogeneous and another one in which you put your control. So you assume given some subset omega of the boundary. So I will write some picture again. Okay, so you have this set, small omega. And okay, so now you consider this system. So there is no forcing term, because we don't mix in general the control. So there is no forcing term. But you split, okay, the boundary condition into two parts, as I say. So the first part is the part where you put the control. So this is the boundary control. And in general, you have to consider another part which is homogeneous. I will give example later. Okay, and still, okay, you start from Z naught, and you want to ask the same question. Okay. So this part is the homogeneous part of the boundary condition, and so you ask exactly the same question, okay? Okay. Now let us try to be more precise for the controllability. So this notion is the so-called exact controllability, but actually, for some equation, there is no hope to obtain this kind of result, and so we have to introduce some other concept. So I will make it just now. So controllability concept, or definition if you want. And okay, to do this, I don't want to give a definition for any equation which could be nonlinear. So I will just limit myself to a framework which is quite sufficient for the linear equation with internal control. So we consider a control system which is written in abstract form. So sigma AB, it will be the system Z dot equal A capital A of Z plus B U. So what is A, what is B? So A typically is some unbounded operator. Such that, okay, you have a semi-group of contraction. Okay, so you can think about wave equation, heat equation, Schrödinger equation. Okay, any equation for the linear part. And B, what is B? So for the moment, to simplify, I will consider some bounded operator between, so another space, U and H, which is a Hilbert space in which we work. So this thing is convenient for the internal control. Later on, I will say what you have to do for boundary control. Okay. So the system is written this way. Okay. Okay, so now I can give a precise definition. So we say that this system is exactly controllable so if precisely in time, I should say also in time t, because it is important. So if, so as I said before, for any Z0, Z1, we can find some control U. So for any state Z0, Z1 in H, there exists a control U that will be L2 in time with value in U, such that the solution of S satisfies that at time capital T, Z of T is Z1. Bon. So this is exact controllability. Okay. But as I say, for some equation, you don't have this kind of property. That's the case for the heat equation. And so we have to introduce something which is weaker, the so-called null controllability. And we say that the system is null controllable in time t. So what we have to change is the following. So we can take any initial state, but the terminal state has to be 0. And so at the terminal state, you arrive at precisely 0. Okay? So you cannot choose Z1 as you want. You just have to take Z1 equals 0. And finally, we have the so-called approximate controllability. So we have that if, so still for any Z0, Z0, Z1, and every epsilon, so if for any Z0, Z1 in H and any epsilon, we can find a control U such that the solution of the system so the solution of the system S satisfies, so of course not something as strong as this one, but we just impose that the distance between this state and Z1 is less than epsilon. And this is, of course, in H. Okay, so if we do some picture, in this case, so you have 0, you can, you can draw a path from Z0 to Z1 for any Z0, Z1. In this situation, you just can reach 0. And finally, in this situation, what you can do, you can arrive very closely to Z1, but not exactly at Z1. Okay, so it turns out actually we can transform this formulation into some estimate for a problem without any control. And this is quite efficient, and this is what people do actually, because of course constructing this kind of control is quite difficult, but if you transform this problem into a problem for the adjoint equation, it's more easy to handle. So before giving the formulation in terms of the joint problem, I will just do some comment about this kind of assumption because we did it. So just a comment, so, remark. So this formulation, this framework is convenient for internal control. So indeed, what you do, so you say that B of U is just, the characteristic function on the set small omega time U, and this operator is bounded. And so if you do that, B star of U will just be actually the restriction of U to small omega. So typically, so in this, of course, I should precise the space. So typically, you take this kind of space, something like that. And with that, it works well, And you have some bounded operator, so it's okay. You are, you have this property fulfilled, so it's okay. Now for a boundary control, it's a little bit more complicated to state. So for boundary control, actually, we have to introduce the adjoint. So let A star denote the adjoint operator. And we shall denote A star, so the semigroup associated to A star. And by the way, I introduce S of T, which is a semigroup associated to A. So that's for the notation. So we shall do this identification. And now, in general, we can put the boundary control in this with this formalism by assuming that B actually is some operator with value in the domain of A star. So we assume whether that So B is actually a bounded operator from U to the adjoint of the domain of A star. Okay? So that actually B star will be actually some bounded operator from dA star to U. Okay, but it's a little bit more complicated to formulate, and actually it's not really useful, so I will not insist on it. And actually, when you have practical problem, okay, you can avoid that. Okay, so now let us formulate the characterization in terms of the joint problem. And this is called controllability test. And so this kind of things, okay, was introduced by Dolecki and Russell. So in 1977, so a long time ago. And okay, we have also something closely related, introduced by Jacques Louis-Lyons later on. And in addition to some formulation of your control problem, actually, you have also a way to construct explicitly your control function. And it is the so-called HUM, Hilbert Uniqueness Method. Well, the point is that actually you use duality argument, and that's the point. And so rather than trying to explicitly construct U, you just have to prove some estimate for a problem without any control. So of course it's nicer. Okay, so you have this result by Dolecki and Russell. So you can completely characterize the exact controllability, the null controllability, the approximate controllability. So I will so give the result, assuming that B is bounded. So I still assume, to simplify the exposition, that U is bounded from U to H, so it's okay for the internal control. So this thing is exactly controllable in time t, if and only if, this is important. So if and only if you have this estimate, so there exists a constant C such that for any y0 in H, you have this estimate. So you compute the integral of B star ST star of U naught. And so this thing, so it is in U, and this thing has to be larger than the constant C time U0 square in H. So I remind you that S star is a semigroup associated to capital S star, that is to the adjoint of the operator capital A, and B star is also the adjoint of B. So we just have to prove some estimate for solution of some initial value problem without any control. So you have the time t, so you have h, okay, and okay, you compute y at time t, and okay, you look at this quantity. So here, okay, you look at the trajectory. So this thing, starting from y0, okay, you have this trajectory, and okay, you compute this quantity, and in some sense, it has to give some estimate of the initial state. So this kind of thing is called some observability estimate. And later on, I will give you the observability estimate that we have to prove for KDV, for BBM, and so on. Okay, so this is a good formulation because, as I stressed, you just have to look at solution of a free problem and you have to do some estimate. Okay? Of course, after you have to prove that. And of course, the main difficulty is to prove that. And so we have to develop some tools to prove this kind of estimate. And all the work is here, of course. So this was for the exact controllability. What happens now for the null controllability? So you have something quite similar, but rather to estimate the initial condition, actually what you can estimate is just the solution at time capital T. So it is something which is weaker. So this thing is null controllable. So it's in time T, I forget to write it. So in time T, if and only if, so still you have some constant C. So there exists some constant C such that for any initial state, now you have this estimate. So you do exactly the same measurement. But now, okay, what you can estimate is not the initial state, but rather the final state. And this is weaker. You can make it. Okay? And of course, I forget, but the corresponding problem is this one. It is y dot equal a star of y, and y at time 0 is y0. Okay? So you do that, it's weaker. And finally, the approximate controllability is just actually a sort of unique continuation property. So this is also weaker than that. So that's the end of the theorem. So this guy is approximatively controllable in time T, if and only if. So you have this property for any y0 in H, if this measurement is 0, then necessarily y naught is 0. Okay, so this thing is nothing but a unique continuation property when B corresponds to the internal control. To be precise, so example. Okay, so you, for instance, consider this thing as the heat equation. Okay, so A star will be A. So you will obtain this system for the joint. A joint equation, a joint system. Okay, so the property is the following. So y equals 0 in 0 capital T time omega. This thing, this property implies that y0 is 0, and it is true. Okay, this property is true. It is, you can do it by several arguments. So you have omega, you have the time t, you have the space. Okay. If your solution is null on omega times 0 capital T, actually it is null everywhere. So you can prove it by Kalman estimate, or you can use Holmgren theorem. Actually, it's quite sufficient because you have analytic coefficient. Okay, so now I will try to give you a picture of the result we have for any sort of equation, just to have some idea. And later on, we will focus on KdV and the other equation. Okay, so a table of result. Just to have some good idea. And of course, I will focus on internal control, but actually, well, you have the same kind of result for the boundary control. Okay, so let us begin with the type of the PDE. So, first family, you can consider hyperbolic PDE. So, for instance, the wave. You have the wave equation, you have the transport equation, so you can consider this thing. After, so you can consider dispersive equation. Dispersive PDE. For instance, you have Schrödinger. And finally, you can consider a parabolic equation or system. And so, okay, the famous example is the case of the heat equation, but actually we have as well a result for Stokes system, for Navier-Stokes equation. But okay, let us focus on this very simple equation, the prototypes. And now, what can be said? So, the type of the controllability. So, for the wave equation, people were able to prove exact controllability result. We have exact controllability, so exact. So, it's quite good, actually. And it turns out hyperbolic systems are quite easy to control. It's a family for which we have very good result. And not only for the linear one. Probably after I will say a few words about control of Euler equation or Saint-Venant equation, but for hyperbolic system we have good result, very good result. For the dispersive PDE, so typically for Schrödinger equation, we also have exact controllability result, so we can connect two states, Z0, Z1, in some time t, so it's quite good. Finally, for parabolic PDE, we just have null controllability or approximate controllability. But so there is no hope to reach any state which is in L2, and the reason is very simple. Actually, you have the smoothing effect, and so when you are not in your control region, due to the smoothing effect, the solution will be smooth. So there is no chance to modify it, and there is no hope to obtain a null controllability result in L2, but also in any subgroup space. So it's different. For the control region, what can be said about omega? For hyperbolic PDEs, in general, you have condition. You have geometric condition. And geometric condition. So I mean, it may be true or it may not be true, actually. To get the exact controllability, omega has to fulfill some condition. So for the wave equation, it is well understood. This is a geometric control condition due to Bardos-Le Boroche. So it's completely understood, but okay, you have some geometric condition to fulfill. For dispersive PDE, well, the situation is not so clear, but we have condition. So I mean that we have some example for which the Schrödinger equation is not controllable because the control region is too small in some sense. But you have also positive results, and it's not so well understood. It's not as clear as for the wave equation, actually. And finally, for the heat equation, no condition. So it's true for any omega. So this is quite good, actually. For the heat equation, you have control results. You have the null contrariety for any control region omega. And that's also true when you consider boundary control. You don't have any restriction on the size of an omega. Okay, time control now. What can we say about the time control T? So T has to be large enough for hyperbolic equation. The reason is that you have a finite speed of propagation, actually. So you need some time to do the thing, to do the work. And so the time has to be large enough. So again, for the wave equation, this is completely understood. For Schrödinger equation, it's true for any T. So we don't have any restriction on the control time. And for the heat equation, is also true for any time t. Okay, so we have these two common properties related to the fact that you have some infinite speed of propagation. And okay, we have that, and this is related to the fact that you have the time reversibility. Okay, and what else? So now what can be said about the tools? Okay, so the tools, actually, so you have non-harmonic Fourier analysis to investigate all these problems in dimension 1. So in dimension 1, you can make it by using moment and classical tool. Now, if you want to obtain a result in dimension n, you need something else. So typically for hyperbolic problems, you have the multiplier method that is introduced in the book by Komornik, for instance. And you have also the microlocal analysis that was a good tool used by Bardos-Le Bourroche to obtain their result. So this tool gives you sharp result, actually. For Schrödinger equation, but you can use the same. So multiplier method, microlocal analysis, it works well. And finally, for the heat equation, the good tool is the Kalman estimate. And actually, you have two types of Kalman estimate. You have those by Lebon-Robiano, so that's a sort of elliptic Kalman estimate. Or you have parabolic Kalman estimate introduced by Imanovilov and Fursikov. Okay. Okay. So actually, both are interesting. Actually, so so mostly for system with nonlinear term, parabolic Kalman estimate are convenient. But if you have purely linear equation and you want to look at system of fine properties, the elliptic Kalman estimate may be more convenient for your problem. Okay, so that's a picture of the results that you have in general. Well, of course, it's not a theorem, it's just to get some idea. And so according to the equation you want to investigate, okay, you have to choose the convenient approach, method. And a few words. So I said before that for hyperbolic equation, we have quite good result. So some parentheses. A few words about Euler equation. So for Euler equation, which is this one, you consider this thing, and on the boundary, you take this kind of thing, this kind of boundary condition. So this system has been investigated, so this is a control, and positive results were obtained by Jean-Michel Coron. I'm not sure, it should be 1992, something like that. So it was in 2D. So it proves that we have exact controllability of the Euler system by some boundary control, which is localized. Well, it turns out there are some conditions on the localization on omega if you have some hole, but if you don't have any hole in your domain, omega may be any subset of the boundary. And so it was in 2D. And the result was also extended to the dimension 3 by Olivier Glass. I don't remember exactly the year. And he obtained the same result, which is quite surprising because he's able to prove the exact controllability of Euler equation in dimension 3 for any initial data and terminal data, so that actually with a good control you can prevent the blow up in dimension 3. So it's a very nice result. And another system, so you have the shallow water system. A so-called Saint-Venant. Well, I can write it. And for it, you have also good control result. So it is a purely hyperbolic too. And you have exact controllability, local actually, exact controllability. This is a result which is due to Guggen and Leugering. So in 2003. And you have also some stabilization result, okay, for it. So for hyperbolic equation, we have in general good result. And what is important is that for this kind of equation, actually, you cannot use the linearization. It is not useful, actually, because when you do the linearization of Euler equation, actually, you can prove quite easily that it is not controllable. And so you have really to use adapted method to deal with that. You cannot use what we introduced just before. You cannot use HUM or the controllability test for the linearized equation. So you have to use ad hoc methods to deal with that. But the conclusion is that actually you can get good result as well. Okay. Maybe we can have a small pause of 5 minutes. 10 minutes.